here's a podcast channel dedicated to the wonderful people of Missouri to talk about and showcase all the great work that they do, the partners that they work with, and the difference that they make, and share it with each other. And this is open to anybody now that it's a podcast channel. So that's how we got to this. And I think it's a great name, partly because I think I came up with it mostly, but Charlie, just a little bit to let everyone know, you have a background in facilities. You've been executive director for a number of years. What is the Missouri School Plant Managers Association for those that aren't in Missouri, or those that are in Missouri that aren't familiar with the MSPMA?
Well, like all other state school plant manager associations, we're here for when it all ends up, we're here for our kids. We want to provide the best school facilities for our teachers to teach and our students to learn. And so achievement's the key here. But we play a part of that in school facilities. Our school districts spend a lot of money on their school facilities. So why not have the best trained staff, just like the best trained teachers in the classrooms? So that is our mission, is to provide the best training for plant managers to go back to their school districts and provide the best school facilities and lead staffs that provide the best school facilities for achievement to take place. And that's what we're all about.
And you were a facility director originally. You spent a little bit of time in the education system. Tell what's your backstory there?
Well, my parents were educators, and then I became a middle school English teacher, and then my wife was an elementary teacher, and we grew from there into school administration with the opportunity to have some experiences to give us the background to lead departments, and I was chosen to be the assistant superintendent of our school district for 21 years. And school facilities was my primary function. We were a growing community. And so the privilege of leading 6 projects from farmland to school grounds. And so there was a great career. And I learned a lot through attending school plant manager conferences and meeting people that were engineers and architects, or folks that had just were the best in their school district at fixing things. And so they were the maintenance leader, the custodial leader. And so I got through school plant managers, I got to meet a lot of people that had the background I didn't have. And I learned how to use their knowledge and turn it into something valuable for our school district. So I sat on the board of the Missouri School Plant Managers for about 13 years, until our original director, who was there for 27 years, Tony Sloan, until he retired. And so I was ready to retire from public schools, and it was an opportunity for me to carry on with something that's a heartbeat for me. So I'm really proud of our association. We've grown, which means we're getting more training for more schools, and that's what our goal is.
Do other schools reach out to you? Are you guys kind of were you the trailblazers in the state to kind of adopt this and kind of do some projects? Is that something that people know about you?
We've had some, particularly around just reference checking on CMs. And I think that's one of the things that really is a point of emphasis, is that the statute's very specific about the steps you have to go through and the process. And one of the things that they're really specific about is when you select a CM, qualification has to be at least 40%. Mm-hmm. And their fee proposal cannot be more than 60%. And so there has to be a good amount of your decision made off of their qualification. And we chose, and right, wrong, or indifferent, but we chose to make the qualification 60% of our scoring, mm-hmm. and their fees 40%. And that's really I think one of the largest advantages of going this route is that you get to pick the contractor up front. You know exactly who you're getting. You know what their fee structure looks like. And their fee structure is 3 simple things. It's the pre-construction costs that they tell you up front. It's the percentage of the GMP and it's their general conditions. And so, you know, right up front, it's all very transparent. Here's what they're charging you. And so if your project comes in at 30 million, then they're getting a certain percentage right off that. So, but they all submit qualifications through an RFQ process, and then you shortlist that, and then you are mandated to interview at least 2, but no more than 5. And then you interview them, and then you select based on the criteria that you as a district select.
25, 26 school buildings under roof, sounds like.
Right.
Okay, cool. Brian, I think we cut you off on the question on the scariest supply story.
I was going to chime into Doug. I think he had talk to units and mechanical units, that kind of switchgear stuff. I think Doug's pretty enlightening to me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a fun world that we live in right now. We're trying to keep tabs on it. I think, latest data we've seen on large air handlers could be 40 to 50 weeks on that type of equipment. On large switchgear, plus 52 weeks. If you want a utility transformer, it's hard to find one. So that's just kind of the world we live in. And these are problems, honestly, pre-pandemic, we weren't really worried about. Those were big, large equipment that we could get to. And normally we were just arguing about cost on projects and not lead times and schedules. And so I think, and I would reinforce kind of what these guys are talking about. We're all professional. We've all worked together for a lot of years and solved a lot of these problems. And, I've had full confidence that when you have good people, creative people at the table, then you can solve any issue you run into. We just have new ones that we're dealing with, like schedule and procurement of equipment. And so what I've noticed is we have to start talking about pre-purchase or early packages on big jobs like this to get out in front of that schedule. And sometimes that means we need to be putting equipment packages out when a building isn't fully designed, like at design development or at like 50% CDs. And I think that's just making sure that everyone understands the expectations and risk mitigation and risk management of that. But we've had to get pretty creative with things like that. I was also going to say there's like certain rules of thumb that we always kind of fell back on, like in terms of cost savings ideas. Like one thing that comes to mind is, we often went to PVC, for example, for under slab storm and under slab sanitary. And there was a point in the market where PVC was so hard to get and the cost point of it was getting so high. Then we were going back to cast iron, which is just kind of flipping everything on its head. Same thing with copper and aluminum with switchgear. So, there's certain things like that where you just can't always rely on what you've done in the past, which I think has been interesting and kind of applying lessons learned kind of in the market moving forward. So it's interesting world.
I want to dig right into, I want to go in the Wayback Machine. I want to talk to you about your first day at school. And
there. You think I can remember that far back? Yeah.
We're going to do our best.
Yeah. I think I've got a little different background that led me here. I'm with Park Hill School District in Kansas City area, and I have 2 kids. Both my kids went all 13 years here and graduated from this district, and I've lived in the district for 30 plus years, 35 years or so. And my background is more in transportation and logistics. I was at UPS for a number of years and went from there to a school bus company and was managing some large facilities in the school bus world. And I'd gotten to know some of the folks in the district here, one being the HR person and the other, several, but one of the others was my predecessor who retired. And it just kind of came about that I was very fortunate that both myself and the HR director at the time were kind of thinking the same way, that I might be a good fit for this position. Not sure why they thought that, because I didn't have any construction background or facility maintenance background or anything like that. It was more of I had helped design a couple of facilities and the transportation piece, which that's part of my responsibilities. Is we contract our transportation, but that's I oversee that contract with our provider. So anyway, that's what led me here. Been the best thing that happened in my life to be put in this position. I mean, what a fun job, dealing with all the different things I get to deal with and
content. So this has been just an awesome and exciting journey, and to this point of a couple of months. And I'm really excited to see what happens in 2023. So I wanted to have you on specifically for us to talk about MSPMA. Let's talk about, before we get into 2023, let's talk about 2022. What were some highlights before Show Me Mo podcast? What were some of the big highlights for MSPMA and their members?
Well, we'll start from the at the end of the year and work back to the first of the year. But our conference was attended at 28.5% higher attendance this year than any of our highest years. So there's some interest, there's some need for more facility information, training, and sharing. So for us, the more training we do, the more people we get to reach, the more helpful it is to our school districts. But then working ourselves backwards from that, we formed so many really, really good healthy partnerships this year for our association. We have just a rock solid relationship with the Center for Educational Safety, which really fits well with school plant managers. And so that's been a great partnership for us. We have a really good partnership with the Missouri Association of Rural Educators. And we went to their conference, and we actually reversed roles as a vendor. That's a great relationship for us, and there are folks there that need our services and need our information. So that's been helpful. We've done 2 training sessions this year for MASA, which is our Missouri Association of School Administrators. Typically, the superintendents, the CFOs of school districts. Those are so well attended, but high compliments on the evaluation sheets that this was so helpful. It's things I get to take back to my district and we get to use right now. And it filled some gaps and some voids of things that we're going to have to try and figure out on our own. And then we are trying to forge a relationship right now, and it's got a great start with the Missouri Community Colleges Association. So we may no longer be a K-12 school plant manager. We may be more of a K-14. We have 12 community colleges in the state. They're very receptive about being a part of us. One of the thrills we share, I'm going to share in one of the community colleges awards at their conference. One of their awards was to hand out an entity or a department within their 12 colleges of a department that had improved their training or their professional development, and Raymond Wade got that award for Ozark Technical School, and he cites that his training was the School Plant Managers Association of Missouri, and his people like the training so well that more people want to go to our training, to our programming. So we share in their success. We had nothing to do with it other than, we're just a provider of services. So a lot of great relationships this year, Josh, and it proved to be successful in the culminating event that we host in the fall in Branson, which is our annual conference.
Yeah, I had the honor to be invited to part of your closing board meeting, and it was eye-opening for me. And I think that the hook was already set with me. The hook for Missouri was set a long time ago, but the real when I walked out of that boardroom, I was like, the only thing I could hear that was a complaint was they wanted more. Welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, where you've been, and then we'll dig right into the wonderful world of BMS systems.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you inviting me back, and that was a great intro. Yeah, that was a great session last week that Charlie and the folks at School Plant Managers put on. They always put on a good show, and I appreciate being a part of that. I work for a company called Integrated Facility Services. We're a mechanical contractor with offices in St. Louis and Columbia and Rolla and down at Lake of the Ozarks. IFS is a full-service mechanical contractor. We do heating and cooling, plumbing, building automation, fire protection, and refrigeration. And I manage our building automation division in outstate Missouri. So I oversee all of our building automation projects. I do the estimating and engineering on those projects, and I run a team of programmers and technicians that install that equipment and get it started up and commissioned. And we maintain those systems for our customers and make sure that everything is operating efficient and maintaining those comfort levels.
So listen, first tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today. And then I want to dig into the district and the day-to-day stuff.
All right. Well, first off, my name is Casey Hausman. I'm the coordinator of maintenance and warehousing for the St. Joseph, Missouri School District. I grew up here in Missouri on the northeast corner, opposite side of the state that I'm currently in. Went to high school, went to college here in St. Joseph, Missouri. That's where I met my wife. I moved away after college. I built telecommunication towers for about 10 years all across the United States. I've seen a lot of beautiful country, been to about 46 of the 50 states. I feel pretty fortunate for that. I got out of the tower industry just for the fact that I had a little incident. I got to where I didn't like the heights anymore. And so I decided I'm going to go into something a little different. I was the superintendent of that construction company there. So I went into, I'm going to try some manufacturing. Started in a manufacturing plant. I started there just at the very bottom. I started loading train cars full of grain. 6 months later, I was promoted, went in, I saw the parts inventory guy. So I negotiated inventory parts for prices for the company. Then I became the maintenance supervisor. About 2 years later, I became the maintenance manager of the entire plant. And about my 5th year there, I became the director of operations. So I was over all the preventative maintenance, packaging, the milling, you name it. That's what I dealt with every day. Outside of that, excuse me, I got a cough here, so fighting the cold.
But just keep that Kansas City cup away. You can use those water bottles. That's fine.
Yeah, but yeah. So my kids got a little older. I decided, you know what, time for another change. So spent 10 more years there. I spent 10 years at that plant, and then an opportunity came open at St. Joseph, Missouri School District about 4 years ago now. Jumped on the opportunity. I came in as a facilities manager over the custodial and everything, and then I moved up to the coordinator, which I'm over all of the maintenance, the custodial, the warehousing for the district, distribution of the district. Our district itself is about 11,000 students, give or take a few. We've got 30 buildings, 350 acres of property, roughly. So it's a pretty large undertaking at times.